This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by the Spice and Tea Exchange of Rehoboth.
Well, Coast Life, we can't go a Thursday here on the couch without spilling some tea. Thanks to our friends at the Spice and Tea Exchange on Rehoboth Avenue in Rehoboth Beach. We've got both the literal tea to spill, what are we drinking today, Charlie?
I almost spilled the actual tea here. We have a cinnamon plum herbal tea. It's rich with currants, hibiscus, hints of plum. This herbal tea also has notes of cinnamon and licorice root. You can smell it. It's really nice as a smell. And it's a unique drink. Try it. Mulled into a cider or wine as well. So we're going to do the tea version, but you can go a lot of different routes with this.
I think this would be amazing in a mulled wine. So I will spill our tea here in that pretty purple color. Ooh, perfect for a cozy day like today.
Now that is really hot, so we're going to wait a minute to sip on it, but we are going to get into our tea today. What do we have?
The drama we're spilling, which I think is actually a pretty popular topic for many people. When it comes to tipping, do you tip when you order takeout? And this stemmed from this conversation that somebody wrote into us saying that, you know, they were getting takeout with a friend and they didn't leave a tip. And the friend got pretty upset at them and they were like, "You're being cheap. Why aren't you leaving a tip? You know that a lot of people in hospitality only make money off tips." This person says, "When I eat at a restaurant, I tip very well, very generously. I just don't see what the point is of tipping with takeout because they don't actually provide a service. They just, you walk up, you take your bag and you go home." And so there's been a little bit of a rough patch here with the friendship. They're saying, am I wrong for not tipping at takeout?
So I have a couple different thoughts about this because I know people have been getting stressed out about tipping culture lately. You're starting to see that you know, they turn the thing around and show you on all sorts of stuff that isn't just food. It can be anything. Like pretty soon you're going to be at the grocery store.
At the airport is probably the most wild thing I've ever seen.
So I understand why there is some stress or some angst about the tipping. I personally tip on any food items. So like if I'm doing the takeout, if I'm doing in store, if I'm whatever, I tip on all of that. I do understand though the argument for not necessarily tipping on takeout. You're not really getting a full service. Somebody isn't coming to you, especially if you say ordered online. It's a little bit different. So I think that it's fair to have different views on that. I personally always tip on all of that because I worked in the service industry a bunch of different times in my life, and you know what? You pay it forward.
Exactly, and I mean, you can't live in the Delaware Beach area without knowing a handful of people that make their living in the hospitality industry. And so for me, there is that little bit of a personal tie, but I would tip people just for the fact that I exist. I'm like, here you go, here's $1. I would say I don't tip as much for a takeout service as I do when I sit in at a restaurant, but I definitely still tip. I'll tip at the drive-thru when I have cash on me or on the app if I'm ordering online. So I do always tip. I feel like this is one of those weird things that it is kind of dealer's choice, and I don't think it should cause a problem between friends necessarily. I think this is kind of to each their own, and it shouldn't bother friend B so much what friend A does with their money.
I will say there's a caveat on this one. It depends on the state you're in too, because if the workers of the place that you're going to are making a full minimum wage or whatever, that's different than if they're also making the lower number that some states are allowed to pay for tipped workers. So there is a little bit of a difference there. I will concede that, but also it shouldn't cause a huge rift between your friends, especially on something that at least some people consider borderline. You've got to understand that certain people are going to have different views than you have. It can't ruin your friendship. Yeah,
I feel like this one isn't necessarily the one to get all worked up about or over, but again, generally I throw at least $1 someone's way, even if it's takeout. And that's I mean, I think that's where I'm at on this one. Throw an extra $1, pay it forward, like Charlie said.
So, hey, we're all on this one little world flying around the solar system as little rocks. So try to treat people well if you can, but I do understand the argument for the other side.
Yes. Well, let's give this tea a try for a cozy day. And I'm certainly, by smell, I'm on board with the wine idea.
Especially today, that's nice.
By taste, I remain on board.
Especially
with the
today,
wine idea.
That's nice.
So you can get yourself a tea like this or many spices, whatever you're Even if you're just kind of getting into your tea drinking journey, the folks at the Spice and Tea Exchange on Rehoboth Avenue in Rehoboth Beach know everything that there is to know about tea, and they will help you find the right one for you. Or even if you're shopping for a gift for somebody, they'll go through your taste, their taste, and they make great gifts, and they will make sure you pinpoint the right tea for the person that you're shopping for.
And honestly, I got to tell you guys, cinnamon plum herbal tea, pretty good option. Pretty good option out there if you're looking.
And it's naturally very sweet, doesn't even need a sugar. So we'll give you your tea plans, time to plan that out while we take a quick break, but CoastLife will be right back.